Coming up, University Union's annual Mayfest is tomorrow. What can we expect from the festivities?
In political science, students from Syracuse are having trouble finding work in New York. Why is that? CitrusTV reporter Rashika Jaipuriar will have more.
And CitrusTV reporter Conor Wight takes a closer look at therapy dogs and their roles on campus. We'll have all of this and more on CitrusTV News Live at 6.
TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening and welcome to CitrusTV News Live at 6. I'm Maria Cinti.
And I'm Mike Riccardi. Walnut Park will be filled with lots of excitement tomorrow for University Union's Mayfest. This year's lineup will feature music from Vic Mensa, Cheat Codes, and Moxie Raya. Students can head over to Walnut Park beginning at 1 p.m. with a valid student ID. Mayfest doesn't just offer great music, but also complimentary food and beer with proof of age. University Union Public Relations Director Caitlin Russell spoke about her excitement for the event.
It's my last year as a senior, so I'm really excited to see our final show come together, really come full circle because we've been putting in a lot of work for the last 6 months. So we're just really excited to see it executed.
Part of Waverly Avenue will soon undergo a major construction. Starting May 15th, Syracuse University is partnering with the city to replace a brick sewer located under Waverly. Senior project manager David Warren says the sewer line is more than 100 years old and is in danger of failing. Waverly will be temporarily closed between University Avenue and South Cross Ave from May 15th to August 11th. The Waverly parking lot will be temporarily closed as well, and the project will also include upgrading water main and creating new Waverly Avenue bus stop pull-offs that Warren says will increase roadway safety and access.
We won't have a much reduced risk of having to get into the street to do utility repairs in that area, which is important if they're going to resurface next year. And then the bus stops, replacing the bus stops with the new design to get the buses out of traffic is important. It's going to really increase the safety up Waverly.
A professor of emeritus in the Maxwell School has passed away. Professor Ralph Ketchum was born in Ohio in 1927 and was known for his authorship over a number of different books, including The Madisons at Montpelier, Reflections on the Founding Couple, and The Idea of Democracy in the Modern Era. The dean of the Maxwell School, David Van Slyke, sent out an email to students today informing them of Ketchum's passing. He was 89 years old.
The New York Attorney General has announced over 50 people have been arrested in a drug bust. Eric Schneiderman says 30 of those caught are part of the Bricktown gang that has been operating in Syracuse for over 10 years. Charges include murder, drug trafficking, and possession of illegal firearms. The arrests are part of the year-long Operation Bricktown investigation, which focuses on stopping drug trafficking and violence in central New York.
It's downsizing season for the government, and although the federal hiring freeze is no longer in place, restructuring plans are still affecting some Maxwell students. Rashika Jaipuriar has more.
The Trump administration recently lifted the federal hiring freeze, which was implemented in January to drain the swamp and stop the growth of the federal workforce. Although the freeze was lifted on April 11th, the White House followed up with a more comprehensive plan for government restructuring. Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney said this would include decreasing funding for many federal programs. Laura McArdle works in the Maxwell School's Career Development Center, and she said these moves have been affecting some students who are graduating this May.
Now that the freeze has been lifted, it certainly reopens some options for people, but we always advise students to explore a number of paths. Even if you know you want to work with a particular issue, maybe don't look at exclusively the options within the federal government.
Graduate student Guillermo Guasp said his areas of interest, like the Department of Labor, were affected by the administration's move, so now he has to pursue other interests.
The proposed budget cuts that are being proposed for several departments and agencies would cut their funding dramatically. So that really gives a forecast that they will not be able to create jobs after the hiring freeze. It changed completely, not just my plans, but the plans of a lot of my peers here at Maxwell School.
The new plan for federal workforce reduction is giving graduates something new to think about on their job hunt. But even though the rules of the game are changing, McArdle says morale among students remains high.
This is just one extra thing for them to be considering this year. I can honestly say morale's still high. Everyone's still optimistic and excited to join public service in the workforce.
Rashika Jaipuriar, CitrusTV News.
Well, it was a wonderful day on campus today. It got into the summer-like temperatures with some sunshine.
And Jack Watson is here to update us on this beautiful weather. Jack?
Thanks, Mike and Maria. Today we set this year's high temperature record, but right about now we're sitting in the mid to high 70s right now. Syracuse 77, Cortland 74 up there in Fulton, 78 degrees. Rochester out there by Lake Ontario 78 as well. Penyon 74 and down in Elmira 76 degrees. Current conditions on campus right now 77 degrees. A much hotter day than yesterday's 60s. But I bet you're probably wondering what's the weather going to be like tomorrow for Mayfest and Block Party. I'll have it on my full forecast when Citrus TV News Live at 6 returns, guys.
And coming up, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn is in hot water with the Pentagon today. What's happening in Washington and how will Congress address the issue?
And the leader of the Catholic Church has opened up a new laundromat in Rome. Why is Pope Francis doing this? We'll have more after the break.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at Citrus TV News, your campus news leader.
Michael Flynn is finding himself in trouble with officials in Washington again. The former National Security Advisor was warned by the Defense Intelligence Agency against receiving foreign payments in 2014.
In documents obtained by the House Oversight Committee, they state that the Department of Defense opened an investigation on Flynn last month. The documents question why Flynn accepted payments after he was explicitly told not to.
Flynn agreed to talk to congressional investigators last month if he is granted immunity from prosecution.
United Airlines has reached a settlement today with Dr. David Dow.
Dow was forcibly dragged off a United Airlines plane by security officers 3 weeks ago when he refused to give up his seat to flight attendants. He sustained injuries from the incident, and it was captured on video and went viral days after.
Dow's attorney Thomas Demetrio announced the undisclosed settlement after United Airlines released new updated policies to avoid further incidences similar to Dow's.
Argentine President Macri visited the White House to speak with President Trump today.
Lemons were a major talking point after President Trump decided to temporarily block former President Obama's lift on a ban of Argentine lemon imports in January. Allowing these imports to come back into the U.S. would be seen as a major victory for President Macri and Argentina.
Other topics like security and Venezuela's volatile political climate were discussed.
And the University of California, Berkeley is preparing for violence between supporters and opponents of Ann Coulter.
The conservative was invited to speak as a counterpoint to a Clinton advisor on immigration policy. Coulter canceled her appearance at Berkeley. However, there is still expected to be violence between conservatives and liberals on the campus.
Coulter called the campus the graveyard of the First Amendment.
A terrorist plot was foiled in London earlier this afternoon.
A 27-year-old man was found carrying knives around the British Parliament. This was meters away from where last month's London terrorist attack took place. The Metropolitan Police Counter-Terrorism Command Unit pinned the man down on Parliament Street.
Theresa May was not at her Downing Street residence when the arrest occurred.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe spoke at a news conference in Moscow earlier today.
The leaders called on North Korea and other countries to avoid any action or words that may increase tensions around North Korea's nuclear program.
This program is also a major security threat for President Trump, who has promised to stop North Korea from using nuclear weapons against the U.S.
And the leader of the Catholic Church now owns a laundromat. Pope Francis opened a free laundry facility for the poor in Rome this week.
The Vatican says the service will restore dignity to many people. Showers, a barber shop, and medical services will be added in the next few months around Rome as well.
This is the Pope's second facility he's created for the poor in Rome.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Well, guys, as I mentioned before, this is the highest it's gotten all year in Syracuse. 82 degrees our high today, partly cloudy throughout the day, and it's been getting cooler as the sun has been going down. Here's our future radar. We see these storms passing through to the east rather quickly, but the only time to worry about them would be in the early night and the early morning hours. Tonight's forecast here, we have a low of 54 degrees as we saw before, some isolated rain. It is going to get a little bit cooler as we see with our low of 54 degrees, but it will move east quickly as we saw with our radar. Our Mayfest forecast here at 1 p.m. is about to be 62 degrees with partly cloudy skies, just some fantastic conditions for Mayfest. And as for the block party, it's going to get progressively hotter throughout the day at 68 degrees, warming throughout the p.m. And when you're exiting the dome, it's probably going to go back down a little bit. The lowest it's going to get tomorrow night is 55 degrees, so be prepared for that as we move into our Citrus TV 5-day forecast. Friday, some wonderful weather. Saturday, we get a little bit of cloud coverage, and the cloud coverage continues on Sunday with a high of 62 degrees. But on Monday, we're going way back up to 78 degrees as our projected high that day, with a chance for some afternoon rain, and there's definitely going to be some afternoon rain on Tuesday, guys.
Jack, so, I finished my finals next week, and a lot of students like me will be starting to move out towards the middle to the end of next week. So what should the weather be for us then?
Well, next week, the temperature is going to creep down a little bit. The high temperatures projected for next week are in the high 50s, so enjoy this warm weather while you can.
All right, thanks, Jack.
And coming up, a new report finds a staggering wage gap between female and male physicians.
And Starbucks is opening up their largest location today in Chicago. We'll have more after the break, so don't go away.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
At
adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees?
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the CitrusTV newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
While the glass ceiling is not broken yet, female physicians are still getting paid less than men. In a report recently released by Doximity, female physicians earn roughly $91,000 less than their male counterparts. Doctors in rural areas were better paid than more costly areas such as San Francisco and New York. This wage gap puts women at a disadvantage because it makes it more difficult to pay loans from medical school.
Calling all coffee connoisseurs. Starbucks plans to open its largest location in Chicago in 2019, but don't expect endless flavors of frappuccinos. The new reserve roastery will be what executives call the Willy Wonka of coffee, by roasting, brewing, and packaging rare batches of Starbucks reserve coffee from around the world. Starbucks originally opened its first store outside of Seattle in Chicago nearly 30 years ago.
And famous comedian Bill Cosby is now completely blind. In a recent interview, the 79-year-old actor says he woke up 2 years ago and could not see. Doctors later told him there was nothing they could do. Cosby is currently facing criminal charges for sexual assault. Jury selection for the trial begins next month, and Cosby is pleading not guilty over the charges.
Few things bring more joy than spotting a dog on campus. From organized events on the quad to your professor bringing a pet to class, dogs are a welcome part of any day. For some, however, a dog can serve a far more important purpose for their owners. CitrusTV reporter Conor Wight has more.
There's a bunch of different... For all the differences of opinion in the world, very few would disagree that dogs are a source of unconditional love, play, and joy. It's the reason so many students look forward to events like this. Last week, Paws of CNY brought their army of therapy dogs to give students a chance to de-stress.
We find that this is a time of year that the students really appreciate the break from all their studying to have a little bit of fun with the dogs. Students tend to miss their own dogs at home, and so this is a great opportunity for them to let loose and lower their blood pressure and their stress level.
Therapy dog Poppy had this to say. Many dog owners see their furry companions as friends or even family, but for others the bond can go even deeper. For SU grad student Naomi Schwer, her service dog Moose is her lifeline.
I returned from my military service and I rescued him, and in a sense he kind of rescued me right back. He was exactly what I needed in my life.
Naomi rescued Moose when he was just 6 years old, and since then Moose has provided her with an invaluable service.
Moose keeps me the best person I can possibly be. When I got back from my military service, I had trouble reintegrating into civilian society and finding purpose. He really takes care of it. I mean, when he's near me, he really soothes me. And having him around, I have purpose. I'm his caretaker. That's my main purpose in life, is to give this dog the best life he can possibly have. And he provides me with a sense of presence. He keeps my mind from not wandering. He keeps me present in my everyday, which is a huge gift.
So from playing catch to helping us de-stress out, dogs truly are man's best friend. Conor Wight, Citrus TV News.
I'm KJ Vaughn. Coming up on Citrus TV, members of the men's lacrosse team get honored. The NFL draft is tonight, and who could forget about the NHL playoffs? Man, I love the end of April. It's all next, so stay tuned.
A family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
4 members of the lacrosse team have been named to the All-ACC team. Defenseman Scott Furman, midfielder Sergio Salcido, and Nick Mariano, both midfielders, and face-off specialist Ben Williams. Syracuse's 4 players is second to Duke's 5 for the most players represented from one team. And Furman made the team after spending just 1 year on close defense after being a long-stick midfielder last year. Mariano leads SU in points and goals with 43 and 29 respectively. Salcido, meanwhile, has become one of the best passing midfielders in collegiate lacrosse with 28 assists. And finally, who could forget about Ben Williams? He's won 55% of his faceoffs this year and owns the record for the most won faceoffs in Syracuse history with 626. And the team heads down to Durham this weekend for the ACC tournament. They take on North Carolina in the first round tomorrow at 6. Tomorrow's game got moved from ESPNU to ESPN News, while the championship game on Sunday stays on ESPNU. So make sure to check out men's lacrosse. And the women are also down south for their ACC tournament, taking on Virginia Tech today in Richmond, Virginia. The women enter the tournament as a number 2 seed with a 13-5 record and a 5-2 record in conference play. Virginia Tech is the 7 seed with an 11-7 record and 2-5 in conference play. The Hokies enter the tournament losers of their last 5. Now these two teams met back on April 9th outside at SU Soccer Stadium. VT made it a game, scoring 2 goals in the final 2 minutes to tie the game, but SU got the victory 12-11 off of Mary Rawls' free position shot in the first overtime. So far, Virginia Tech is currently leading 4-3 in this afternoon's affair. And from the lacrosse field to the basketball court, Syracuse has announced the date of the annual Georgetown game for next year. The game will be Saturday, December 16th, down in D.C. at the Verizon Center. Tip-off is tentatively scheduled for noon. Now, this game will be the debut of Hoya great Patrick Ewing coaching against SU, as he just got hired after this season when Georgetown let go of John Thompson III. Now to head downtown to the War Memorial, where the Syracuse Crunch got a pivotal victory last night. The Crunch beat the St. John's Ice Caps 3-2 to take a 2-1 lead in the best-of-5 series. Center Byron Froy scored what turned out to be the game winner in the second period. Game 4 is tomorrow, at 7 p.m., and that game is also at the War Memorial Arena. Now, the NFL draft kicks off tonight at 8 p.m. in Philadelphia, the first time the draft's been there since 1961. The draft will be televised on ESPN, and on an interesting note, 3 teams do not have a first pick in the first round. The Patriots, Rams, and Vikings don't have any first-round picks for tonight's draft. Now let's take a look at Mel Kiper's top 5 players on his big board. Throw up the full screen. Myles Garrett, number 1, Jonathan Allen, number 2, and Jamal Adams, number 3, Solomon Thomas, number 4, and then O.J. Howard, number 5. Howard has been burning his way up the big board this spring. He is considered a big-bodied target with good hands and a position you don't see in the top 5, is a quarterback, but Mitch Trubisky is the top-rated quarterback, and Deshaun Watson is right behind him at second. Also, Cleveland.com is reporting that the Browns have decided to take Garrett with the number 1 overall pick. And from the regular season to the postseason, the Rangers continue their quest for the Stanley Cup. From NFL to hockey, taking on the Ottawa Senators. Game time is at 7 p.m. tonight, and the game is on CNBC. Now, the Rangers upset the Canadiens in the first round 4-2. Meanwhile, the Senators beat the Bruins 4-2 in the first round. Game 1 is at the Garden tonight. Matt Zuccarello has led the Rangers in the playoffs with 3 goals in the first round, and Mika Zibanejad leads New York with 3 assists.
All right, and we'll be right back after this break.
Don't go away.
Young age, I definitely want to major in political science, become the mayor or something, make the situation better for other people. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Maybe he's really focused.
Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Well, Jack, I know I ask you this probably every single week. I want to go golfing again. Today was beautiful. I'm cramped up in here. When can I actually hit the links?
Well, tomorrow the weather's going to be fantastic, but as we move toward the weekend a little bit more, it's going to be just a tad, a tad colder than it was this week, as we see with our Friday day planner. 58 degrees at 9 a.m., a little bit chilly to start out the day. Noontime, 62 degrees, and by 6 p.m. when we're getting ready to go to block party, 67 degrees. A bit of a warmer and nicer day as we progress throughout.
All right, thanks, Jack.
So it has been it's been my pleasure working with you for this entire semester. But I'm sticking around next year, so you have the stage. Anything you want to say?
Well, I want to just thank everyone so much and the opportunity. I mean, this has been an incredible semester. My first time ever anchoring the full show, and I just want to thank the producers, everyone that put this together, the camera people, and you especially for working with me for
our
the
wonderful executive producer,
Yes.
Kate Wyatt. And I'd like to thank Michael Tricarico. I've been filling in for him for the last couple of weeks. He's a fellow Cicero North Syracuse High School alum. He's the person that first got me introduced at Citrus TV. He told me to come down, right when I got started here. So I have him to thank for that. Like you said, I'd like to thank all of the producers for all of their great work. I'd like to thank Jack, always our favorite weatherman over here at Citrus TV. And lastly, Maria, I'd like to thank you. It's been a pleasure filling in for Tricky, working with you this last semester. So thank you and good luck in the future.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
KJ, and thanks for doing sports with us, buddy. I'm sorry we almost forgot you there.
No problem. Honestly, it was a great semester, and it is my semester last here at Sports on News, so it was a great team to work with all of you guys.
And good luck to you too, graduating. And that's all the time we have for tonight. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Citrus TV News. For the last time, I'm Maria Cinti.
And I'm Mike Riccardi. Have a good night, Syracuse.